Can we start with this thing that I was talking about? My topic.
Fine. Yeah, let's start with your topic. All right, let me introduce.
This has been busting my brain all morning.
So y'all might have heard earlier this week there was a college entrance cheating scam.
Is this Sam's topic?
Yes, this is Sam's topic. A slew of business executives and high-profile celebrities are amongst more than 40 people charged in a $25 million cheating scheme for students to gain admission to high-level institutions such as Yale, Stanford, USC, blah, blah, blah.
And absolutely no one is surprised.
Okay, yeah, so no one is surprised.
No one is surprised.
Here, the best part about this is that apparently, in addition to cheating on the ACT and SAT on behalf of students and bribing coaches and administrators, people also went to the length of, in some instances, pictures of students playing sports were staged, and some pictures even used Photoshop to insert applicants' faces onto the bodies of real athletes.
Wow.
That's
yeah.
so bad.
Okay, so there's a lot of stuff you said there that is stuff that I was unaware of when I initially broached this topic, because where I was at here before learning some of this was I read a thing about a celebrity being arrested and put on $1 million bail because she paid some money to get her kid into USC. Okay, and so first off, you already pay money to get into USC, a lot of it, and she just paid.
Aunt from Full House.
She paid much more than normal, but once again, it's a private university. So I'm like, why is she being arrested? Like, is it illegal to bribe a private university official?
Yes.
Okay, so but what if like she just pays someone off the street? Like, what makes a private university official like somehow illegal to give money to?
Because they're held to a code of conduct.
I have a school. If you pay me $500, I'll let you into it.
I know, but
it's illegal.
So yeah, no, it's definitely a gray area. But the first and foremost thing that you're forgetting, Sam, in this, because you were asking about this earlier, and the whole question is it illegal, and what is illegal?
Yeah, what's illegal about paying?
First and foremost, it's fraud.
Okay,
you're misrepresenting. So not only is it fraud on behalf of the person at the institution that's taking the money, because a fraud is a misrepresentation of a material fact that causes somebody else to act based upon that misrepresentation.
Okay.
So that is what happened. So that is fraud, as in someone took money at an institution and then said, okay, now I'm going to turn around and pretend that this person has X amount of score on the ACT and is X amount good at X sport.
Okay.
And I'm going to represent that to the institution. So they're guilty of fraud, and the person that paid them is guilty of bribery and racketeering.
Sure.
Because you created a racket, you created a scam.
You created a scam because there's a middleman involved, et cetera, et cetera. But usually, like when you think about fraud here, fraud is usually like, hey, Clint, if you give me $1 million, I'll give you a golden house. All right. And you get it, and the house isn't gold. And you're like, that was
gold.
Fraud. That's fraud. But this is the other way around. It's like, Clint, check this out. How about this? I will give you $1 million if I give you a golden house. All right? And you're like, okay, I don't lose anything, right? I get a ton of money.
But that discounts like
everyone
else involved in the school.
I think it's more
that's like, what about the neighborhood? Like,
I guess so. It's like, I guess what about the other students that potentially
school advertises admissions working a certain way?
Yes.
And they aren't working that way. That's false advertisement, which is fraud.
So here's an exact thing here's an actual allegation that came out of this. Apparently, former Full House star Lauri and her husband, designer Massimo, which I don't know if y'all were wearing those Massimo jeans, but
wait, really? That's the
guy,
Mr. Massimo.
Mr. Massimo.
This story gets better.
They're comfy clothes.
Yeah. So apparently, those two paid $500. Sorry, $500. $500,000 to have their two daughters selected as recruits for the USC crew team, despite the fact that neither of them participated in crew ever.
So that's the Photoshop
this could
heads
be
we're talking about.
Yeah, they didn't connect the two directly in the CNBC article, but it could be.
I want to see those Photoshop pictures. I want to see those Photoshop pictures. Like,
they went on a rowing photo shoot. At the very least, they went on a rowing photo shoot.
But like, think about this though. Like, how screwed are those kids? You know?
Sure.
Like, mom and dad put me through this, and like I knew I couldn't do it, so they had to lie.
But
and
some
then,
of the kids apparently didn't even know about it. Apparently.
Well, yeah.
What?
Yeah, some of the parents were apparently just paying to have the grades on the standardized tests amended and not telling their kids.
I guess that'd be the safest.
Yeah, it's
way
like,
to
Mom,
do it.
why are we doing this tennis photo shoot? Like, I don't even play tennis. Like, trust me, you're gonna need this.
For your dad's fashion line.
For your dad's father. It's for Mr. Massimo.
Put these clothes on.
For his
Hold this racket.
But
For
it's
these
a,
new
it's a men's
Italian
brand. It's a
jeans.
men's brand, and I'm not a man.
Well,
So
they're
it's like,
they're
just
expanding
do it.
out.
Just
Yeah.
do it.
So in the age of gender diversity, they're expanding out. Just put on the jeans.
Someone once told me a story about where they were a fly on a wall in a meeting at USC with some of the higher ups, and they're talking about what they should raise their tuition to for the next year. They said like, all right, well let's pull up what the other most expensive private schools are right now. It's like, okay, cool, that's what the price is. We'll set ours to be 5% higher than that because we need to still be the best, and we'll just pick the most expensive price. Therefore the best.
Yeah.
And that's why I hate
And then,
USC.
of course, there's, all the students are like, why are you raising tuition? They have this whole, gathering where they explain, well, costs are going up.
Yeah.
And, they're just bullshitting everybody on it. And ever since I heard that story, I've had no respect for that school.
Yeah. Well, not to mention when you read deeper into some of these articles, you see, oh, by the way, when she was arrested, or like the night before this actress was arrested, her daughter was partying on a boat that was owned by one of the board of trustees at USC. So it's like,
Right.
dude, first off, I know why a parent, as a parent myself, I understand trying to get your kid an edge and all that stuff. But like, I feel like the order of operations for the way this stuff gets released here, it's like, first off, the kid needs to be expelled. Okay. Like that's
obviously.
that's like that's the true ultimate punishment
They've
that
not
needs
been
to go on
admitted
here.
on merit, so
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now let's go to the person at USC who is supposed to be held to a certain standard because of this institution
person should be fired.
and the laws that govern accredited universities in the US and all that stuff. And then at the very end of this line here of our order of operations here, it's like, all right, now let's deal with how we handle the parents. Like, did they do a fraudulent donation that was a write-off that they actually paid, et cetera, et cetera. I just think this whole thing is like kind of backwards right now because ultimately it stems from people at the university being corrupt. Because,
Yes, it wouldn't have happened,
and that's really
but
the
for
big
that.
story here.
Yeah.
USC has a lot of corrupt people
Right.
handling their admissions, or at least a lot of people who don't understand how Photoshop works, and they're like, that face, the lighting doesn't match. But you know what? I'll take that as proof of being
But
on
I'll
a boat
take
team.
those stats on the crew team.
Yes.
I never had those when I was a youngster. Come on in.
I just keep thinking back to those kids though, like especially if they didn't know, like what I'm being expelled, like that would like tear apart their relationship with their family.
I
Like,
know you need to have a more entitled accent when you're saying what more like what you're telling me. That's usually how it goes.
It's crazy though that like if they didn't know and that just like gets sprung on them, like the mistrust, and like they would just totally feel betrayed by their parents,
Unfortunately,
It's
I
like,
don't
whoa.
I don't think that any of this is like an isolated incident, It's probably not that they had like a perfect upbringing and trust 100% with their parents in all things, and then all of a sudden one day mom and dad just pull the rug out from under you. It's probably like most of the time these situations are like a cycle of habit where one thing triggers the person to get caught.
But I could see it being where it's like, we want to do what's best for our kid. And they just do that, and they do that, and they have the money.
Just
to
unfortunately, the Hollywood definition of do what's best for your kid is just completely upside down.
obviously went into a dark zone here.
Yeah.
Like,
We're in the dark zone now.
yeah, like this. I'm not saying that this is. I'm not
Sponsored by
justifying any of these
Massimo.
actions. I'm
Right.
just like trying to get into the minds of like how this could have happened. Like
It probably starts with the genes.
It sucks for the kids.
with the
for
Massimo
sure.
company.
Especially if they didn't know about it.
Are any of you guys actually surprised, though? I mean,
No.
honestly?
No.
No.
So why is it a big deal now? Is it just because somebody got arrested?
No,
Well, this
it's-
is
Now
why
everybody can like
they're
point at them
making
and
it a
laugh?
big-
Well, this is why I brought this up, because I sit there and I read the article and I'm like, well, first off, just explain to me what exactly happened that was illegal here, because you have a private university and a mom who wanted to pay extra to an already super expensive school, and like I get how that's unfair, but why is she arrested with a $1 million bond?
Because it's fraud and bribery.
I guess
That's a felony.
now I see how we get there. But it stems from probably the laws that govern like USC, right?
No,
'Cause-
those are laws just on the books. Like common law prohibits bribery.
But
It's a common law thing.
Common
what
law
is the fraud that is occurring?
It's a material misrepresentation caused by a bribery. You're
Makes
paying
sense to
someone.
me.
You're saying, hey, Nico, you're an administrator at USC. I'm Lauri Loughlin, Full House star. Here's $500,000 for you to misrepresent the athletic abilities of my children so that they can attend the institution for what you are an administrator. So you're committing fraud and I'm committing bribery so that you can commit that fraud. Therefore, I'm an accessory. Therefore, I'm also guilty of fraud.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm
So
just-
what's preventing them from just going, we'll do regular admissions. Also, if you want to give us $500,000, we'll let your kid in.
No, that's
Because that's
Yeah,
that's
that's not
contradictory
fair. It's
to everything that America stands about.
Yeah, but that's not like it's.
I mean, how do you think George W. Bush got accepted to both Yale and Harvard?
Well, his father was a legacy, so
Exactly.
let's start there.
Yeah.
So in other words, it wasn't on the merit of the guy applying. It was on his attachment.
Well, I'm trying to figure out.
It's a loose definition. That's absolutely true. But just paying cold hard cash. I mean, this is basically what Facebook tried to do to us, where they're like, "Hey guys, do you want money in exchange for video posting?" And it's like, well, maybe if you guys did something for the creators, like we might be more interested. But now you're just whoring us out.
But-
And the same thing's happening here. It's like just paying money, just paying cold hard cash so that your kid can get into an institution. Not only is it illegal, but it's also like completely contradictory.
It's illegal
greedy.
to
It's just
because
straight-
but this is what I'm trying to figure out still. I mean, obviously the true answer might be deep down in a law somewhere, but basically, like who, like we know who the victim is here. The victim is potential applicants with actual good grades and prerequisites, etc.
and the
But-
country
and the
where
country-
that upholds these institutions
Sure,
as
sure.
a bastion of education.
Yeah, sure, but I guess there must be the difference between a bribe and a payment is basically a bribe is subverting a system in order to get your goals, basically, and just a payment is
Is doing
I guess
it legally.
the assumed correct way. But you're
Right.
through this.
But there's also
we're
probably a U.S. code on the way that these institutions are allowed to run, especially since they're public institutions.
Well, no, yeah.
So not only is there probably a federal code and a state code against
Yeah.
it, it's also just illegal before common law.
That's basically what I'm getting
those
at.
are the
Is
reasons.
there must be some law clearly then governing how these institutions are allowed to handle candidates.
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of laws that govern how institutions govern candidates. There's been huge remember there's Title IX and there's affirmative action, and there's been all these things over the last 30
Sure.
years that have affected the way that public universities and private can accept students.
Okay, because this is the real meat of what I'm getting at here. Because
Yeah.
you zoom out and you're just like, crazy mom pays double to get college for her kid.
Right.
And it's kind of like, yeah.
The problem is that it'll never be an exact science because it's based upon a number of factors.
Yeah.
And so there's a number of things that the institutions consider when admitting somebody, but obviously just there's a line somewhere.
Sure.
And
Okay.
they clearly crossed it.
They definitely crossed it.
Hey, if you like this clip, head on over to the Corridor Cast and check out the whole episode. It's filled with little highlights like this one. It's just a good time. It's an hour of quality content. You will not be disappointed, I promise you.